Whoa.
Dragons come out of the sun.
What? Hello there. Thank you for clicking the video. Let's get into it.
You should really look into these Mandela effects. The elite really want to see how much they can get away with. Watch
this timeline really did the Monopoly Man dirty because they took away his monocle. I'd give anything for a box of Cheez-Its, but since they don't exist, I'll settle for the real deal, which is a box of Cheez-It. Smokey the Bear wants to keep the world from burning down. Wrong. His name's actually Smokey Bear. Luke, I am your father. Wrong. It's no, I am your father. I love the breeds as much as the next gal, but if you want to be in this timeline, you have to take out one of the E's. I know what a cornucopia is because when I was younger, I was shopping with my mom at JCPenney and I asked her what was on the Fruit of the Loom logo and she said it was a cornucopia, and I'm so grateful for my incredible imagination for making up the cornucopia that has never existed in the Fruit of the Loom logo. I've always loved the Laughing Cow's nose ring until I found out it doesn't exist. Another style I truly admired was that of the Raisin Bran sun, especially the sunglasses.
I feel like somebody's really trying our patience. We can call it a timeline shift, or the elite are trying to see how much exactly they can get away with. Or maybe there's an alternative explanation that I don't know. As always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay weird.
I definitely remember a few specific Mandela effects, but I think as a result of so many of these things, it's almost made my memory more malleable. So I don't really trust my memory as much as I used to, for better or worse, and that may be by design.
Listen to what this man has to say about our government's interaction with aliens.
Who's going to be put to death?
The program folks that are responsible for keeping the tech that's not theirs, and also, doing things to these extraterrestrials.
How did they allegedly acquire this tech?
Retrievals.
Retrievals.
Yeah, when I was first introduced into the program, one of the very first things they asked me is, do you want to be part of the retrieval program? And I said, well, tell me about it. And when they said the things they said, I was like, no. Number one, it sounds gross. Number two, you probably can't give me enough PPE gear and hazmat gear to make me feel safe around these things. And no, I'm not interested in that. Thank you very much.
So how do they describe it that freaked you out that much? They're talking about biological entities that are retrieved along with the crash?
Yes.
Why do they crash if they're so smart? That's always the big question, right?
Well, I think the new guy on the block, Jake Barber, he's describing some of the ways that you can do this psionically. I guess his psionic team, he's going to start showing some of that to the world. That some of these craft are manned and piloted by consciousness, and apparently they have a psionics team that can actually get in the headspace of these craft and cause them to land. So it's not really a forced landing; it's just kind of a mutual thing.
So wait a minute, the United States government has the ability to contact or interact with these craft?
Yes.
And force them to land?
Yes, and then there's other ones that are done kinetically, which is more the scary side of it.
I mean, realistically, couldn't it just be drones controlled through VR? Sure, you can have your psychic ability to control it, but couldn't really advanced drones accomplish most of the same feats? And you really have to ask yourself how many different psyops are at play here, all demanding and distracting us from something else. Exactly what are they distracting from? I'm not sure.
Did this really just happen and no one else is talking about this video? How Ariana Grande's real truth came out about what she really is? And even though 99% of you won't be able to stomach this, I have to show you. Like, Ariana Grande's so kind, she's so caring, thoughtful, or at least that's what I thought at first. But then after seeing this, I know the real truth. Don't get me wrong, Ariana Grande's accolades are unmatched. I mean, she's done things that no one else has. And the fact that her vocal range is so great and she has so much talent makes this video even worse. Now you could look at her upbringing, where she started out at television and then transitioned her way all the way to music, where she's been successful in almost every single avenue that she's attempted, to where now she's on TV shows. She's a singing coach. I mean, I can bust down the whole list. But we never paid attention to who she really was and looked past all the facade. And the sad truth is that when she had this encounter, it changed everything.
Ariana also said that she felt like the demons followed her back home. She had an encounter where she was sleeping, where she saw this black figure over her bed. She didn't want to feed the fear. She thought it was there. It wanted to scare her. So she just called her friend and she fell asleep on the phone. When she woke up, the room was demon.
As a lot of you commenters say, if you sense a demon around you, you let them know you do not want them around. You are not welcome.
Every single person goes out of their body every night, because the body is what gets tired. The soul, the spirit, the real you doesn't get tired. It doesn't need to rest. So we get awful bored sitting around waiting for the body to wake up so it could continue what it's doing. So while the body is asleep, the real you is off having all kinds of adventures. And you go all over the planet to all kinds of places. You go into outer space to other planets. You go to other dimensions. You're having all kinds of adventures. And, because you're always connected to the body by the silver cord, whenever you get ready to come back to wake up, you're like reeled in, just like a fishing reel, and you're reeled back into your body again. And you usually don't remember these journeys unless you remember dreams of flying or dreams of being in unfamiliar places. And some people can train themselves to remember their dreams.
So it's saying in this video, everyone astral travels, but she's talking about dreaming. Is this the same as lucid dreaming? Is lucid dreaming the same as astral traveling?
Remember the milk mustaches with all the athletes?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You notice you don't see that anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be something gruesome.
It's illegal. They did studies and they found out that milk actually does not do a body good. Milk actually causes you to leach calcium from the bones, making the bones more brittle.
Wow.
So that's why you don't see those commercials anymore.
About that, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So like there's a lot of things that we've been taught. That's why in my book, Vegetation Over Medication, the tagline is the myth, lies, and truth about food and modern medicine. Because there's a lot of things that we've been taught. I mean, even you look at remember back in the day, they used to have the food pyramid?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You look at what they have today, it's totally different.
Yeah. I don't know what that has to do with the milk mustache, though, to be honest.
So now we learn from the Bible why your map is upside down.
Ooh.
Hello out there. In this video, I will be showing you that the East and West that we know of today is different from the East and West in the Bible. Now, this is the first incident in the book of Enoch where I almost gave up on trying to figure it out. I actually put this down because I could not understand it, but the Most High has encouraged me to pick it back up, and He gave me the understanding by opening up a candle of understanding in my heart. And I will be sharing this with you, and it's coming from the book of Enoch. It says, and at the ends of the earth, I saw 12 portals open to all the quarters of the heavens. These are the 4 right here. 1 quarter, 2 quarter, 3 quarter, 4 quarter. These are the 4 quarters of the earth. Alright? And it said 3 of them are open on the face, which is the east. Alright? This is the face. This is this is a head. This is the dome. And it's looking at you. So this is the face. So, and this is the back of the head. This is the ear on this side. This is the ear on that side. Let's just use that as an example. So we have the east. This is the face. Alright? It says 3 of them are open on the face. That's the east of the heavens. And 3 are in the west. Alright? 3 in the west. And 3 on the right, which is the south. See, we have 3 on the right. Alright? Of heaven. And 3 on the left, which is the north. That's the left. That's the north. Now already, when we look at this map, or this chart, we see something strange going on here. So if we turn it like this, and we have the east on this side, which we normally look at, and we have the west on this side, notice that the south is up and the north is down. Therefore, the east and the west is correct in here, but the north and the south is incorrect according to the way we think. But this is the Bible. So even if we turn it this way and put the north at the top, like we're normally used to seeing it, and the south at the bottom, we have the west on the east side, and we have the east on the west side. So where are we going with this? Well, remember all of those videos online when they show the eclipse coming from the west? We see it coming from this way, or same thing here this way. It is actually coming from the east, because the map has the north at the top and the south at the bottom, and this is biblical. So the eclipse is actually coming from the east, and we think that it is coming from the west, but it is actually coming from the east. So it is coming from this way, which is the east, and it's going this way, and as you can see, America's right here. So we see this eclipse coming from this way, and it's coming from east to west. I'm gonna leave that at that.
NLE Choppa just spoke too much, y'all. He might have just put a target on his back. Sometimes it's better just to shh. You see the pose he doing in this picture? He should have did that when that reporter came up to him asking these weird questions. So a reporter came up to NLE Choppa while he was walking through the airport, and he started asking him weird questions. He asked him about space, about the moon, about Mars, about Earth, about UFOs, and NLE gave his insight. But the problem is, he got the influence, and they're not gonna like that.
Nobody ever been to space. Really? Nobody ever been outside of this firmament. That is an interesting conversation I would love to have. Why
Off camera.
So you think we faked the moon landing? Yes. Let me tell you why. Yeah. They say there wasn't no air in space. On one of the moon landing clips, that damn flag was blowing. Shit on TikTok was crazy. But on the NASA website was found in the coordinates of a desert in California, but they said it was quote unquote Mars.
This reporter was loving it. He just kept asking the questions. The crazy thing is, at the end of the interview, the reporter said, "Man, you're young. You got so much influence." That should have told you right there.
If it's a firmament and we can't leave, what do you think? I think it's water. As below is above. A lot of fifth-dimensional bulbs, when they go up, they start to curve, take the shape of if something was circular. So do you believe in extraterrestrial life? No, you do. So where do they come from?
Like I said, if I
Under
was
the water.
NLE Choppa, I'm not talking to you on this camera. Like, first of all, I don't know you. You coming up to me asking these questions. Why? I would have been like, we could talk about this off camera.
I'm not exactly sure who that was, but he seemed to be a pretty enlightened individual. I would have enjoyed a conversation with him, I'm sure.
Okay, this is unbelievable. I'm standing here right next to the Great Pyramid of Giza, just outside Cairo, and there's literally a UFO circling right over the top of the pyramid right now. Look at that. It's moving slowly. It's like it's scanning the structure or something. I've never seen anything like this in my life. It's definitely not a helicopter or a drone. It's completely silent except for that weird humming noise. It's hovering directly above the pyramids right now. Almost like it knows exactly what it's doing. I swear this feels unreal. This is like history, guys. You're seeing exactly what I'm saying. I have no idea what I'm witnessing. This is incredible. Over the pyramids of all places.
What does this mean? Legitimacy meter, folks? What are we thinking? Real? Not real. Whoa.
What the? Oh my god.
You know, Playboy Carti practices magic. Many people have reported Carti staring into a flame for hours before he records. The reason he does this is to enter a trance-like state. By staring at the candle for long periods of time, you will escape the human mind of thought, allowing your consciousness to access the astral or the mental planes. The magician would do this with an intent to gain a certain information or certain thing from these higher planes. What this does is that it allows you to channel information into your conscious mind. Carti will more than likely do this to channel specific beats or ideas for music, because he understands that we are not just physical beings. If we can escape the human mind of thought, we can actually access higher realms and dimensions. Carti is also well known for doing energy work before his concerts. He will meditate in a black room claiming a certain energy for 30 minutes. And this is why everyone says he has so much aura. It's because when doing these meditations, you will invoke energy within your consciousness through emotion. He will do this to claim that energy. When he comes out onto the stage, he is then presenting that energy. Anyone can do these rituals and they will dramatically change your life.
Y'all, look at the color. It's the same exact color popping up in every single storm around the United States for months now. And it has a lot to do with frequency and the way you're feeling. We'll get to that in just 1 second. Quick recap, these strange colors have been appearing in the sky with strange noises. And no, it's not Transformers, have been recorded in fields multiple times the past month. These sounds and these lights are popping up in all storms, all due to frequency. And how do we know that? Because the geomagnetic storms and the aurora that we keep seeing in the northeast United States And also, that's why you feel like crap too. Now, if you weren't born yesterday or just downright ignorant, you would know that this right here is not normal. And I'm mainly talking about the fact that states above North Carolina can literally see the aurora tonight. And the Schumann frequency is even more evidence of this fact matching what's happening with the sun, which is why you either feel really good or really bad. But are all these frequencies natural? Of course it is! And completely unrelated, what happens in Alaska happens everywhere. And with the frequency going on all around us, I wonder if it's making certain things worse. The weather chasers notice something weird going on. And to top it off, people are saying they see dragons come out of the sun.
What?
Seems spiritual, like demons and smoke. What do y'all think?
Hold on, y'all. Wait. Do y'all remember what they said that these street lights were supposed to do, bro? Like, do y'all remember that shit? Just peep the difference, man. I know y'all remember this 2020 shit. Hold on, yo. Look at this video.
Streetlight. Let's see what's inside. Uh-oh.
Now, if we just pay attention to what the going on around us, y'all. Bro, the street lights, bro, along with the color. Now, we all know that colors do shit, bro. Why did they change it from white lights to purple lights at nighttime, guys? What? Yo, this video is literally just to make y'all laugh and have, entertainment purposes only. Like, this has nothing to do with anything. This is just all entertainment purposes. Yo, they trying to cook us. Oh my God. I'm not gonna cat to y'all too. I've been seeing this shit so much lately, bro. And if you live in Miami, y'all definitely seen that shit downtown. Oh my God.
This is one of those things where it's like you almost have to stay ignorant of it if you want to stay sane. Because really, the more you look into it, the deeper you dive into it, the worse it gets for knowing that exists. And anyway, let's keep going.
All right, y'all. So I have another story time. So this one is about a dream that I had about 3 or 4 days ago. I already told my husband about it, and he told me I should tell y'all. I've been on the fence about it, and honestly, I've been trying to recollect more of the dream because I know the dream was longer than what I remember. So I've been trying to remember more of the dream, but let me just tell y'all. So, I was at home with my entire family. Mind you, my family's pretty big. So it was my husband, my kids, our mothers, my dad who lives in Kansas, my brother's wives. Like, it was my whole family in my house. I don't know what we were celebrating. It could have been a holiday, birthday. I don't know. We do a lot of things like that just because. So we were in my house and we were like talking and listening to music and eating in the kitchen. And then we just hear this loud bang at my door. Boom, 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 boom. Like somebody's knocking like the police. So my husband's like, what the heck? So I look at the ring and I can't see anything on my ring. And I remember looking at my phone at the ring because I always do. I don't just go to my door. First of all, if you're just going to your door, that is not safe. So even in my dream, I was like, who is this? But it was like fuzzy. We couldn't see. So my husband goes to the door and he opens the door and immediately shock. The people or beings that were at my door, they were massively tall. They were so tall that if they came into my house, they would have to duck. Okay. So my husband is about 6'1", 6'2", and one of my sons, he's about 6 feet. These men or beings, they were like 10 feet. I'm not even exaggerating. And their skin was this dark, like, but it was kind of shiny. And they had head pieces. I could tell it wasn't their actual head. It was like kind of like head pieces, but I couldn't tell where the headpiece began and their actual forehead ended. Hold on, I'm at the DPS with my son, so I'm like looking at the door, making sure they don't need me. So the guy starts talking to my husband. My husband's like, what the heck? So the guy basically tells us to stay calm, but he never opens his mouth. None of us ever opened our mouth. It's like we couldn't. They were talking to us telepathically. So the main guy, he was a little bit bigger than the other guy, but they were all massively large and they looked very statuesque. They were soldiers. They looked like soldiers, but they were large and they were black skinned, and they had these striking like greenish gold eyes. Like it was like mixed with green and gold. But the main guy, he had a little bit of copper in his, like a reddish gold with the green. The rest of them, their eyes were like very green and gold. Telepathically, my husband was like, what is going on? And the guy said, stay calm. We're here to tell you something very like serious. And I can't remember the exact wording of the in-between stuff. I just only remember the important things. He said, if you, hold on. Oh, y'all gonna think I'm crazy. He said, if you want to survive, you have to leave with us now. All of you. And we were like, what do you mean? This is your last chance to leave. This is your last chance to leave. And if you don't go with us now, you're doomed. Now, when you hear something like that, you're like, what, why, what's going on? My husband is like, I could literally hear my husband's thoughts like spinning, like, what, I gotta grab the birth certificates, I gotta grab this. And then the guy basically said,
wow.
Well, we're going, you do not need any of that. If you're going, we have to leave now. Now, mind you, he's the biggest one. So I can tell he's like a commander. There were like, let's see, him, two. So I think it was 5 of them total. But I feel like there were more people by the street too, but they were further away, but I couldn't see them. It was like blurry. I could focus on the main 5. And at that moment, my whole family was like, well, come on, let's go. Y'all, for the life of me, I cannot remember where we went after we walked out my door. I know my dream kept going.
Wow.
I know it did. But I can't remember what happened. I can't remember how we left, if it was a ship. But I really feel like those were the Anunnaki. But the stories that I hear about the Anunnaki are that they were bad. But nobody really knows, right? But in my mind, all I hear is Anunnaki, Anunnaki, Anunnaki. But I've never seen them. Nobody really has seen them. So I don't know what that is, if that's a warning, if that's a message. But I know for a fact that my family and I have been craving. We have had the urge to leave the United States. Everybody's on the same page, but we don't know where to go. But that dream, I feel like it was a take heed. And I feel like a lot of the divine people, the chosen people, or the people who are in tune with their higher selves, I feel like a lot of us are getting messages, right? A lot of us are getting messages, and we need to listen. We need to listen. And I don't know what to do with that information. I don't know what to do about that dream. I don't know what they were trying to tell me, but I know that if they coming, I hope they come back to my house like they did in my dream, because why would they come to me in my dream?
I have never had any experience, anything like that, but I would enjoy that. I think it sounds like a really fun experience. She doesn't seem to mention, or maybe I just didn't pick it up, but she, as far as like an aura of, or a feeling that these entities were giving off, I would definitely question the motives, but at the same time, I believe I would be able to interpret the entity's intentions. At least whether or not they were benevolent or malevolent beings and they meant harm, or they truly meant to save me. Because realistically, why would they save me? Like, what do I have that would warrant me being saved? So I would definitely be questioning, what's going on that. So I don't know. This is definitely I don't know if I guess because she was hearing Anunnaki, that word ringing through her mind, because I don't necessarily correlate that to Anunnaki if I were to be dreaming that, unless I heard those words ringing out.
I know there was more to that dream. And their clothing, it didn't look like clothing. Like, it was almost like they were royal. Like, they were like us, but much darker, much more statuesque. And we never opened our mouths. We never communicated with voices. It was very silent as far as mouth. But I could hear everybody's thoughts. Like, my kids were afraid, but everybody was like, let's go, let's go. It was no question about it. We all were like, let's freaking go. But that's one of my dreams. And I told y'all. Let me know about your experiences.
Yeah, especially if something was reaching into me and speaking to me telepathically, I would think that there would be some sort of connection on a deeper level of what their motive was. I mean, granted, I've never experienced it, so I'm just kind of going off of how I think it would be
So you're telling me the aliens aren't a people, but the elites are?
Exactly. They let people believe it's aliens, so no one asks the real question.
What real questions?
Like why abductees report seeing men in black right after, and why those UFOs in the sky never leave Earth's atmosphere.
Wait, you're saying the ships aren't alien at all?
Not even a little. They're military crafts, technology, decades ahead of what the public knows about. Anti-gravity, silent propulsion, all developed in secret. The whole aliens thing, just a cover story.
Okay, but why people?
Experiments, genetic testing, neural implants, maybe even full-blown human modification. They've done it before. They can do whatever they want and no one questions it.
So all these UFO sightings lately?
So they want us looking up, chasing aliens. So we never realized the real horror's happening right here in their underground labs for entertainment purpose only.
10 being absolutely not, and 1 being why not. This so far is a 9. Yeah, man. All right, right now we're at about a 14.
I'm kind of getting anxiety just watching it, to be honest.
All right, so here is where the scale is completely broken. And I don't want to keep going forward, but we've gone too far to turn back, and there's no like turning range.
You know what?
You know, so we can't have a bus.
It seems like the driver's hauling ass.
Like, first,
I need to get through here.
Why? That's so crazy.
A lot of people, when they dream, they never remember or never have any thought of the beginning of their dream. They always seem to be right in the middle of their dream. Where are you before the dream takes place? Why aren't you ever able to remember the beginning of your dream? Why does it start right at the middle of everything that happens in your dreams?
It does seem
Close your
like
eyes so you can visualize what takes place in the beginning of your dreams. You're going through a space-time continuum. You are seeing images, flashes of all your childhood memories, all your parallel universal selves, and then you are met up with other consciousness entities that lives in the universe and outside of the universe, inside of a loading orb, universal cube, box, triangular form, and you guys are all waiting to be loaded into the dreams that's coming from your subconscious. You blend your experiences with these other conscious entities, because just like you dreaming, there are other people that lives in other universes dreaming to meet up with you as well.
Shit's getting weird. Part infinity.
Hey Neil, what are you doing?
Watering the plants.
What is your favorite task to do in the house?
Definitely watering the plants. That's why I've done it so many times.
KFC rabbit hole, and let me tell you this: if this video don't stop you from stuffing your face with their finger-licking chicken, nothing will. So y'all remember KFC's full name was Kentucky Fried Chicken, but they changed it in 1991. Now the question is, why did they change it? Well, let's just say this: when you look it up on Google, they're not trying to tell you the right thing, but I remember. And shout out to one of these creators for refreshing my memory. So in 1991, Kentucky Fried Chicken had to change its name to KFC because they weren't selling chicken. You heard me, right? Now, if you look it up on Google, Google will say they changed their name because they didn't want people hanging on the word fried. But that's bullshit. And let's say allegedly, because we know how TikTok gets. So again, they had to change that name because they wasn't able to call it Kentucky Fried Chicken because they wasn't selling chicken. So now, when you look at that and you ask yourself, what were they selling? No, really, what were they selling if they wasn't selling chicken? Now, you see the video about KFC that I dropped yesterday. Guy is walking in gravy. Guy dips another guy in gravy, and this guy turns into chicken. Yeah, you heard me. Chicken. And again, you have to ask yourself,
What the hell does dipping a person in gravy have to do with fried chicken? They're telling you something without telling you something. What are they really cooking? Now, again, I'm not saying anything. All I'm doing is just pointing you in the right direction. What did that have to do with fried chicken? Is that really fried chicken? I'm out.
I'm sorry. That's a little ridiculous. I think he was laughing at the end too.
Is that really fried chicken? I'm out.
His zoom ins. I don't know if he was manually editing the zoom ins or he did that in post, but if all I saw was just the zoom in after zoom in for emphasis on the points, and I'm laughing over here. Maybe he's laughing too, or maybe he's serious. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
For educational purposes, entertainment purposes, everything I say is alleged. Only thing I ask is that you interact with the video so more people can see it before it gets removed. I once was a part of the U.S. Air Force. The only thing they told us was there was a crash out in New Mexico and the government was looking for volunteers. Volunteers that would have to work on a 10-year project and have their identity completely wiped. Being that I wasn't married, didn't have kids, didn't get along with my family, and was already pretty antisocial, I signed my name up on the volunteer sheet. Exactly 1 year later, I was notified that I was selected out of hundreds of candidates. I was told when, where, and what time to show up. I arrived to what looked like an abandoned building and met with the other 11 participants.
This person sounds like she's speaking at 1.5x default speed.
Which consists of 2 doctors, 2 linguists, 1 security guard, and the rest were researchers and scientists. In walks a man. Skipping the small talk, he begins to show us pictures and videos, and he explains that the crash that took place in New Mexico was actually a craft that consisted of 5 beings, 4 unalived on impact, and the remaining survivor was taken to a research facility, where for some time it can only communicate through hums, finger pointing, and repetitive hand motion. Over time, that being would learn broken English, and it would explain that his home planet was 40 light years away, planet Serpo, that the occupants of that planet are known as the Ebons. We call them the small grays. They have been visiting Earth for 2,000 years, and back at his crash site is a communication box that it needs to get to. That communication box would be retrieved, and that being would send messages back home. Unfortunately, it passed away before it ever got a response. So the government would take over the communication box and start sending out their own messages. Now, eventually, they would get a response from the Ebons, but instead of offering their condolences, they demanded technology, to which the Ebons said, no, we're not going to give you technology that's far too risky and way too dangerous. So instead, the Ebons offered a solution, and the solution was they would come back to Earth, drop off a few of their own, collect the 5 bodies as well as 12 humans, and go back to their home planet. In other words, they wanted to do a human advanced being exchange program, to which the government agreed. To prepare for this exchange program, we had to train for exactly 1 year. We did physical, survival, and written tests. We learned about Ebon history. We learned about their biological makeup. All the things that were retrieved from the crash site, we got to play with and familiarize ourselves with. But the most difficult test was the isolation test. And that test required each of us to be buried underground at 7 feet for 5 days with only food, water, and an air hole. Now, I know that should have been my last straw, but I really, really wanted to see this planet. Finally, the day comes. Hundreds of us gather at the Holloman Air Force Base, where we witnessed the spacecraft descend onto Earth. The first thing I noticed was the big black eyes. They're soulless. The next thing I noticed was the lack of emotion. While everyone was screaming, cheering, and smiling, the most the Ebons could offer were head nods and some handshakes. We loaded the 5 bodies, 40 tons of gear, 2 years worth of food, 10 motorcycles, 3 jeeps onto the 3-level craft, and then we were off on our 10-month journey to Serpo. During our 10-month journey, I was sick majority of the time, and I wasn't the only one. We all struggled with going through wormholes, the changes in gravity, and motion sickness. To compensate for that, the Ebons would give us a liquid substance that tastes like chalk, and that substance will reduce our symptoms almost immediately. However, one of our teammates, he really struggled. His symptoms weren't reducing, so instead, the Ebons quarantined him and assured us that once we arrived to their home planet, they would be able to provide him with better care and attention. When we arrived onto Serpo, we were given heavy-duty sunglasses, our teammate was taken to a care facility, and then our translator/guide walked over to us. The Ebons that were out there, no one greeted us. There was no celebration. They have no emotion. There's no joy. There's no laughter. They just exist. Here's some key takeaways. Planet Serpo has 2 suns, an orange sky, and it's never dark. The landscape is barren with no vegetation. The heat is similar to an Arizona summer. Their homes are dome-shaped huts. Most of their living is underground. They have electricity, and families are only allowed 2 children. They test into jobs selected by the government. They don't get paid. They just go to the government and request whatever they need. Most of their jobs and agriculture is located on another planet that we never saw. They are peaceful. They pray. Who they pray to and what they pray to two, we were never able to figure that out. Their days are 40 hours long, not 24, and that's how we ended up spending 13 years on their planet instead of 10. Concerns grew about the well-being of our teammate. When we asked about him, our translator told us that he had passed away, but not to worry. He had received the highest honor in their culture, which was being donated to science for cloning and research purposes. That information infuriated another teammate. He felt like we should do something. He felt that the Ebens had disrespected us and that we should have been given access to the body for a proper burial. But as I told him, what exactly could we do? We're outnumbered, we're 40 light years away from home, and they have their own military. But that wasn't good enough for him. He became enraged. Over time, he started to become rude toward the Ebens. He started to disrespect their customs until one day, I didn't see him. When I asked about him, I was told that he too was donated to science. Once it was time to go home, 2 of our teammates decided to stay behind on Serpo willingly. They said that Serpo felt more like home than Earth. The 8 of us made it home safely. We were quarantined and debriefed for a year, given a large sum of money and new identities, said U.S. Air Force Commander Colonel McKeever. McKeever alleges that him and 11 other people participated in a human-alien exchange program. He also kept a journal throughout his entire experience.
I would be very curious who these entities would be praying to.
What color was kindergarten?
Kindergarten?
Yeah, when you was in kindergarten or pre-K, what color was it? Ooh. It was every color.
Yeah, I was going to say rainbow.
Okay, now when you went to 1st to 2nd grade, what color was it?
I don't know.
It was bland. Yeah. It was that color. Yeah, it was just
like jail.
Exactly. Then when you went to high school, what color was it?
Like jail.
Yeah. Okay, then when you went to work, what color was the wall?
Yeah.
It's waning you off the frequency. When you a kid, you vibrant, you running around, and then the first thing they do is they say, wane them off the frequency. Make the walls tan, make everything tan, make it boring. Sit down, don't move. They just get you right out your spirituality. And then the next time that you do get introduced to a colorful environment, guess where you at? You in a club. If the club was this color, nobody would go. But since it's black and it's universal light, aka from red to purple, it feel like you in the universe. It feel like you in the universe. So this is why people like the club. It's called colorology. Even hunger. Hunger is triggered by the color red, yellow, and orange. What color is Wendy's? What color is Chick-fil-A, McDonald's? Every highly successful fast food franchise, I guarantee you, if they not all red, orange, and yellow, they have either one of them colors at a high value. Yeah. So this is people who literally socially engineer the world.
All right, so apparently my background colors are the wrong hue. I'll have to change that up next time.
Do you know that pigs are actually cursed human souls? And that's why they have human-looking eyes and their organs share resemblance to our organs? Listen, ancient texts across the world speak of people cursed, transformed into pigs as punishment. Mythologies, religions, they all share the same story. And if their stories are true, pigs aren't just animals. They're a reminder, a warning, living proof of something we were never meant to understand. Maybe that's why so many religions ban pork, not for health, not for hygiene, but because consuming it is a violation of something deeper. And here's where it gets worse. Unlike dogs, pigs cannot look up at the sky. Their necks and their muscles make it physically painful for them to even try. They live their entire lives forced to face downward, like a creature cast down. And here's the part that makes people really uncomfortable. There are certain people who've done things so unthinkable, so inhuman, that their morality is long gone. And when they're asked about it, when they're pressed, they always say the same thing. Pork tastes just like something we all know too well. So the next time you stare into a pig's eyes and something stares back, ask yourself, do you really want to take that bite? This is just a theory, not a fact.
You can only do this because you get the government behind you. You get crazy. You. This lady right here, look at her ass and legs. She's acting like my 79-year-old mother.
T-Talk Media.
But she's not my 79-year-old mother. And it's interesting when you Google Lorraine Abele, our house pops up, because this lady acts like Lorraine Denoy. So you Google Lorraine Abele, and this house pops up, and then you look, and then my mom's name starts popping up. She's trying to steal everything, and this is not my mother. And I'm putting this up because she's saying that she's going to get an attorney and try to do something. She's trying to throw me out, and if I attack her...
Whoa, what is that all about? What is that all about? It sounded like there may have been the real thing behind it. He was saying something like she's going to kick him out or something. So maybe there was something more to it. But That is definitely one of the two big horrifying options. One, somebody significantly close to you being replaced by whatever, or just everyone being replaced and nobody is real and you are the only genuine one. Like right now, I don't know if anybody's real. I don't know. Let's keep going.
Rotates around the sun once a year. And in that one rotation, there are 365 little rotations, representing 1 day per little rotation, equating to 365 with one large rotation. And 365 divided by 28 is 13. So you mean to tell me that we could equally split a year into 13 equal months, every month having 28 days? The beginning of the month starts on a Monday, the end of the month ends on a Sunday. And hold the phone. Because you're telling me that September, sept meaning 7, October, oct meaning 8, but it's the 10th month, November, nov meaning 9, but it's the 11th month, and December, but it's the 12th month, and decagon is 10. But hold on, what if the end of the year wasn't in December? What if January was the 11th month? Because December would be the 10th, November would be the 9th, October would be the 8th, September would be the 7th. So January is the 11th, February is the 12th, and March is the 13th, the last month of the year. And the beginning of the year is the spring equinox, when everything begins to start growing and renewing, and life begins to flourish. Wouldn't it make sense that that would be the beginning of the year and not December?
That's absolutely true. What's that about?
These people told us it was illegal, not unlawful, as if we're living people. But they told us it was illegal, like we're minors, like we're incompetent. They said it was illegal for humans to interact with wild dolphins. Why? Now we found out dolphins can talk. Look it up. Look up the woman with the dolphin that's excited saying mama to her. I love you. Dolphins can talk. But we all had a hunch, right? We all kind of knew that dolphins have always communicated with humans. Orca as well. Orca, one of the biggest apex predators in the ocean. Still majestic enough to let a human keep his life. These two mammals that live underwater are our family, our aqua family, and they're under attack. By who? By who? By what? And why? We're at that point of life where it's time to start turning different wheels. We gotta say no and stand up eventually. Nature, our allies, our friends are even asking us. The more that we sit back and we be sleep, everything around us has to pay the consequences. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying. I'm just acknowledging that these animals, these beings, these spirits that live in the water, they have a deeper connection to us than we were taught. And if you don't believe it, just look up the experience of women giving birth while dolphins swirl around them and send that those echo vibrations to the child and communicate. There is a connection with us. And right now, there's something happening in that water. And we deserve to know.
Bro,
I know what telepathy is. I'm not talking about telepathy, bro. I'm talking about physically speaking. Like the dolphin is like, hello there, good morning. And you're saying hello back. Like the dolphin is bringing tea from the bottom of the ocean to the top, physically speaking. The video I saw of the girl, she was physically teaching the dolphin how to talk, bro, with vocabulary and words.
Come on, Mom. Yeah. Mama. Mama.
I know what telepathy is, y'all. That's not what I'm talking about, bro. And they said it take like 3 months for them to fully have full-blown conversations. Remember, this was just 3 seconds, 5-10 seconds when she was teaching him how to say mama. And bro was already catching on. So think about the span of 3 months, bro. He finna be sitting up there clocking tea with you in 3 months. That's why they don't want us talking to them, bro. They don't want us to know what's really going on the bottom of the ocean, bro.
Whoa, that is a fascinating concept. What if that's the secret? We just need to get in touch with the dolphins, find out what's going on, because they got the answers.
Truth? You really want some truth? How about we be truthful with ourselves? I'm an addict. Ex-addict, whatever you want to call it. I want to get high right now. Right now. I want to get high. You want some truth? You want some real truth? I hate how we live in a society that based success of how much money you have, and then I look at how much money I got and how I ain't providing for my son in the way I should. And I feel like I am a deadbeat of a father because I'm not giving him what the world deems as successful. So therefore I hate myself because I'm not living up to the standards or not even doing better than my parents did for me. You want some truth? Y'all want some real truth? There's times I hate myself so much. I wonder if people would be better off if I wasn't around. You want some real truth? I should just stop crying and bitching about all the trauma I went through in my life when you got children that are out there right now missing, and I'm complaining because I can't go buy a Coca-Cola. You want some real truth? I need to take more accountability and stop blaming other people for my mistakes. Learn to be more of an asset and not a liability. Be a man and stand on my own too. Stop always finding excuses and solve problems properly.
It's so hard to be a parent. It's so hard to just be a person in this world sometimes. And not surprisingly, it's even more challenging when you have other life forms that are dependent on you.
So when I first saw these, I was like, oh, how nice. Little happy faces. Then I'm like, this is a little creepy. And then I start thinking, like, what is it that they're hiding in those trucks by making it look so friendly and fun and happy? Just curious. What do y'all think? What's in these trucks?
Probably soy. Or a soy byproduct. Who knows?
The zombie apocalypse is everybody who going through a spiritual awakening actually waking up and surviving, and the people who are stuck and tied to the 3D or low vibrational beings, they're really the zombies.
I have a question. I'm gonna tell you a story right now, a true story. 2 nights ago, I went to bed. I wasn't asleep yet. It was after 10 o'clock at night. I live in the country. Don't have any street lights. There's a few solar lights outside, but that's about it. What I'm trying to say is it was dark. And so I'm tossing and turning a little bit, and I'm laying on my left side. And for whatever reason, I decided to open my eyes. I don't know if I was compelled to. I felt something in the room or what, I don't know. But I opened my eyes, and what I saw was the strangest thing ever. It was a self-illuminating cube. It was about 4 inches or so across. It seemed to be hollow, meaning the edges were defined, but it wasn't like all solid colors on all sides.
Was it floating?
Saying the edges were this orange color, orange yellow, but the inside was filled with, at least partially, with this weird pattern. like dots, connected dots. Ever seen what a DNA test looks like? You know, when they put the whatever they're putting in the gel, and so they're like dots, series of dots or these little squares. But that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. It was so strange. I did think it was pretty. It didn't scare me. I was not immediately frightened, because I've come to know that most of these things you see are not there to harm you. At least that's my philosophy on it. So that lasts for a couple of seconds. I do wear glasses, obviously, and I didn't have them on because I was in bed. But I could see this thing very clearly. Very clearly. It was not fuzzy at all.
Wow.
I remember thinking, in the moment even, this kind of looks, for lack of a better word, alien, with those dots on the inside. They were like elongated dots, like pill shape, but not quite as long, more squatty. And as I said, they connected to make some sort of a pattern. I can't even fathom what that could be. Well, that wasn't everything. When that thing disappeared, I looked past it, and I could see up in the corner of my room this round, circular, maybe 3 feet across object. The outer edges had some illumination to them, just barely, especially the upper left. And the edges look like within a few, like 3 or 4 inches in, look like the panels of a soccer ball or a volleyball. You know, they were paneled. It was paneled. But that many inches in then was this black swirly thing. I don't even know what to call it. Kind of like you'd see on a TV show where they show a portal or a vortex or something. I know, it sounds really stupid and weird and nonsensical and makes me sound stupid. And I don't even know what it makes me sound like, but I was not asleep. I was not drunk. I was not high. I was not dreaming. I saw those things, and I remember just thinking, what the, was that? But I kind of just eventually just turned over and went to bed, went to sleep, actually slept. And in the morning, I just started really deeply pondering what the hell was that? Because, if you're prone to seeing stuff, and I've seen a real orb, not the kind that's floating around all these different places on Earth. I'm not talking about those big, huge orbs. I'm talking about small energetic balls that do happen in nature. Their cause, their nature, their origin, I don't know. I just know I've seen one time. So I know they do exist, at least from my experience, they do. So, if you've seen something like that, you're just like, you're questioning yourself. And I'm questioning myself, no doubt about it. Not did I see it, but I'm questioning why and what was it. Did my brain see a self-illuminating cube and then this strange vortex-looking thing in my bedroom 2 nights ago?
So I am going to keep in mind that her username here is Mrs. Parker Acts. So maybe this is her shtick, is to act out these elaborate things, because I don't necessarily doubt that something that she's experiencing is possible. That sounds really cool. I would love to experience that. In fact, if anything outlandish or paranormal or unusual or unexplained or anything like that happened, I think I would cancel whatever I'm doing, which really is never much outside of work, but I would stop whatever I'm doing and I would plant right here and I would record it. Guys, check this out. I just experienced this thing, whatever it may be. You guys would be the first to hear about it, but I've never been so fortunate, but maybe one day, fingers crossed.
I look exactly the way a 72-year-old is supposed to look. At 72, I'm supposed to be able to get down and do a plank. I don't need to eat nobody's else mucus. nobody's blood. That is not going to nourish me. We do not have the digestive enzymes to break down animal flesh. We do not have the teeth in our mouth to break down animal flesh. We swallow chunks. Tell me, that's what's gonna make us sick. That's what's making us sick. It ain't no nut and it ain't no seed. I bet you the intelligence that created the human diet gave me exactly what I need to get as much iron as I need, and I ain't gotta kill nothing. Don't dare tell me to eat another animal's organ to get what I need to be healthy. No. Why we got so much diabetes? Why we got so much heart disease? What's plugging arteries? What is the food that you eat that will plug your artery? It ain't no apple. It ain't no broccoli.
Crazy that you're 72, like you look like 36 or something, and you're totally jacked. You got like veins coming out of your arm. You can do push-ups all day.
If I want to run a hill, I can run a hill. I don't want to have a life alert. I don't want to get in the bathtub and can't get out. My energy is just off the roof, so I'm ready to go. That's what people need to really understand. When we just sit down and just let it go, that's generally what will happen to you. You lose strength.
But still, people have difficulty wrapping their head around really getting on board. Even seeing you at 72, banging out the push-ups and with your skin and, rocking the attitude and like the whole thing, they're like, yeah, but like, where am I going to get my protein? How's this going to work? Like, I don't, maybe, Babette is some crazy outlier. It's not possible for me.
First of all, we're all the same. If it works for me, it will work for you. Self-love, self-care. Educate yourself because knowledge is power. Don't walk around here being ignorant and saying ignorant things and keeping yourself in an ignorant space. My thing is, you better educate yourself and you better understand where protein comes from to be able to say that I'm 72 and enjoy each and every moment. My time on this planet in this form, it's just amazing.
I definitely need to educate myself on improving my diet, so I can respect that, and that's something I'm working on. One of my weaknesses, self-admitted weaknesses. But on that note, I think that's a good one to end it on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You are appreciated. Remember to question everything, and I'll see you guys all next time. Cheers.